Before the night's hunt began, a new shadow had crept into Gotham, a killer unlike any other. Batman had been tracking a string of disappearances. Citizens vanished without trace, their homes untouched, their loved ones left only with cryptic messages scrawled in blood. Each note bore the same symbol, a rusted gear surrounding a crude smile. It piqued his interest, until tonight, when it became personal. He'd entered the abandoned West Side textile mill on the tip of a lead. Bloodied footprints and a child's teddy bear. The corridors were empty, save for the echo of dripping water. Batman moved through the gloom, grappling hook at the ready, confident in his stealth. But the mill was rigged, tripwires that sent sparks spraying, a floor panel that triggered electrified rails, and a grate that collapsed beneath him. When he crashed into the lower level, his head cracked against steel, and the world spun into black. He awoke in a claustrophobic cell, the sting of a stunned dart still dull in his shoulder. The walls were bare concrete, the air heavy with antiseptic. A single CCTV camera turned lazily above him. On the floor, a discarded scrap of paper read, "Welcome, Batman. Your lessons begin now. Jigsaw." Batman's boots thunked on cold tile as he stood, surveying the room. He tested the chains binding his wrists and ankles, reinforced with titanium links. No ordinary foe had such resources, nor this penchant for theatrical traps. He pressed a gloved finger to the stunned dart puncture, wincing. It burned, but his resolve hardened. He would find a way out. A harsh whisper crackled through hidden speakers. "Nice of you to join us. I trust your trip down here wasn't too uncomfortable." The voice was calm, almost friendly, and utterly menacing. Batman's jaw clenched. "Show yourself." Silence answered. Then a panel slid open to reveal a wall projector. A slideshow of faces flickered. Parents, children, innocents. Each name followed by "murdered by the Joker." At the end, one photo remained. The Joker himself, bound in a high-backed chair, eyes wild. Beneath it, bold letters. Game 0, the setup. The projector whirred. "You tracked me here," the voice explained. "I knew you'd follow the trail of bodies, because you always do. So I guided you, through blood, through fear, into this chamber. Tonight, you learn what justice truly costs." With that, the projector died, and bolts clanged as the cell door slid shut. Above it, a display counted down, 60 minutes. The cell's far side exploded inward as heavy doors swung open. Beyond lay a pitch-black corridor crisscrossed, with glimmering tripwires. At its end, a single lamp illuminated another locked door. Batman's instincts screamed caution. He drew a small makeshift probe from his utility belt, an improvisation on his batarang, and began to prod the wires, marking each with a chalk line he'd scraped from the wall. His breathing echoed as he moved inch by inch. One misstep, and the wires would trigger hidden blades overhead. He slipped between low-hanging wires, his cape nearly brushing them. Sparks fluttered when he disarmed a hidden explosive. After agonizing minutes, he reached the door, chest heaving, and twisted the lock. The corridor behind collapsed in a thunderous roar, trapping the first gauntlet. The next chamber's single bulb flickered on. Before him stood a transparent cylinder filled with an acidic solution. Inside floated the rusted key he needed, and beneath it, a weight pressed against the glass. A plaque read, "Retrieve the key. Save your conscience. Fail, and the acid level rises." Batman recognized the danger. Corrosive acid would rise with each second. At his feet lay an emaciated mannequin, wired to a pressure sensor. If he moved too suddenly, the acid would surge. He inched forward, repurposing a scrap of pipe to lift the mannequin off the sensor. The acid climbed. Emerald fumes hissed, but he froze the mechanism by triggering a counterweight he fashioned from his belt buckle. Heart pounding, he plunged a glove-covered hand into the liquid, searing his flesh, and retrieved the key just as the acid reached the mannequin's level. He flicked open the door. His suit hissed with self-repair nanofibers, but pain radiated through his knuckles. He stumbled into the next corridor. A wide hall opened before him, bisected by two massive circular saw blades suspended on rails. They rotated slowly, their edges glowing with recent use. Between them, a solitary chair held a struggling prisoner, the first victim he'd been too late to save. The speakers crackled. "Stop the blades and save him." Batman dashed forward, Kate billowing, and dove toward a control panel on the right wall. The blades recoiled at his approach, but then accelerated toward him. He slammed his elbow into the red activation button, sending both saws clanging to a halt. He ripped the man free and dragged him into a safe alcove. As the victim coughed and whimpered, Batman turned away, forcing himself not to linger. The corridor behind him sealed with a thunderous clang. The final chamber was clinical, an four stand, a steel table, and beneath a glass dome, a beating pig heart floating in murky fluid. A sign read, "Inject 2 cc's of your blood, or she dies." The she was another hostage, again, an innocent taken by the Joker's madness. Batman's breath hitched. His code forbade killing, but shedding his own blood to save another was easy. He extended his arm. His blood dripped into the syringe as he pressed the inject plate. The heart's color deepened, the dome lifted. He collapsed to one knee, vision blurring, but forced himself upright. Beyond the table, a final door stood ajar, revealing the endgame. Bathed in stark light, the last chamber held two figures. The Joker, bound and gagged, and in the opposite corner, Jigsaw stepped forward from the shadows, his mask illuminated by a single spotlight. Between them lay a pistol on a pedestal. The clock above ticked down from 60 seconds. Jigsaw's voice filled the arena. "Kill him, or 10 more innocents die at midnight. You know him. You've stopped him before. Yet in prison, he will kill again. He takes lives because you let him live." Batman's heart thundered. He advanced, every step shaking. "I don't kill," he rasped. "Then you let them die," Jigsaw replied softly, "which makes you a murderer too." The Joker's wild eyes flicked between them. Batman reached for the gun but hesitated, recalling his vow. Jigsaw's challenge pressed on him. "Are you the Dark Knight of Justice, or just another coward hiding behind rules?" The timer hit 10. Batman's gloved finger gripped the trigger. His vision narrowed. He saw the Joker's twisted grin, the innocent faces on the walls, his own reflection in the barrel's gleam. The clock struck 0. A single gunshot cracked through the chamber, reverberating like thunder, then silence. When the emergency lights flickered on, both chairs lay empty. The floor was stained dark. The pistol lay shattered at Batman's feet. No Joker, no Jigsaw, only the echo of that final shot. Batman staggered to his knees, looking at the blood pooling at his boots. He pressed a hand to his side, stealing his breath. Somewhere in the darkness, faces of the innocents he'd saved haunted him, and those he'd been too late to reach. On the wall, scrawled in jagged letters, "Game over." He rose, silhouette against the flickering red light, and stepped into the corridor. Gotham still needed its Dark Knight. If he could endure the cost of justice in a world that demanded his blood, his strength, and ultimately his soul,